I've reviewed thousands of lipid panels, and the same 5 foods show up in every cart. Most men in their 40s are tracking LDL on their blood panel, but LDL mass misses the real story. ApoB counts the actual number of LDL particles in your bloodstream, and that's what predicts whether plaque is forming. I see 5 items every week in high-end grocery carts that quietly push that number up. They have health halos and premium price tags, and none of them belong in the basket of someone tracking biomarkers. What ApoB actually measures. Here's what most blood panels don't tell you. Total cholesterol and LDL mass look fine on paper, while the actual particle count is climbing. That's because one ApoB molecule sits on every atherogenic particle in your blood, including LDL, VLDL, and IDL. ApoB is essentially a direct head count of the particles that burrow into arterial walls and form plaque. The National Lipid Association put out an expert consensus in 2024 stating that ApoB is the superior metric when your numbers don't line up. The European Heart Journal published similar findings the same year. If your LDL mass looks normal, but your ApoB is elevated, your cardiovascular risk is still elevated. The target for most men is under 80 to 90 milligrams per deciliter. If you're high risk, you want under 60 to 70. Most executives I talk to have never had ApoB measured. They're walking around with a clean LDL number and no idea how many particles are actually circulating. Now let's look at what's driving that particle count up. Starting with the item in your desk drawer. Item 1. Protein bars. The first item is the easiest to justify and the hardest to quit. Protein bars live in every desk drawer and gym bag. The packaging promises 20 grams of protein, gluten-free certification, and non-GMO labels. What it doesn't advertise is the 15 to 20 grams of added sugar packed into many popular brands. A 2024 report from the Environmental Working Group highlighted that many protein bars are ultra-processed products containing refined ingredients, sugar alcohols, and sweeteners that spike postprandial insulin and glucose. The metabolic impact is closer to a candy bar than a meal replacement. Added sugars increase triglycerides, lower HDL, and promote the formation of small dense LDL particles. That pattern elevates ApoB particle count even when total LDL mass looks stable. The label trick to watch for is no sugar added. That phrase often masks maltodextrin, rice syrup, or sugar alcohols that still drive glycemic response. Your body interprets that signal as a carbohydrate load, and your liver responds by packaging more triglycerides into VLDL particles. Every one of those particles carries an ApoB molecule, so the count rises. If you need portable protein, the swap is straightforward. Reach for plain Greek yogurt, a couple of hard-boiled eggs, cottage cheese, or a small handful of raw almonds. Whole food protein doesn't carry the insulin spike or the hidden sugar load, and that sugar load doesn't just come from bars. Item 2. Flavored yogurt. If you think the dairy aisle is safer, look closer. Plain yogurt is neutral or even protective in long-term cohort studies. Flavored versions add 15 to 25 grams of sugar per serving, which is often more than a bowl of ice cream. The container still says probiotic and heart healthy because the base product is dairy. The mechanism is direct because added sugar drives hepatic VLDL production, raises triglycerides, and promotes the secretion of more ApoB-containing particles. Cleveland Clinic published a clear breakdown in 2025 linking high sugar intake to elevated cholesterol, higher blood pressure, and weight gain. All 3 pathways feed into higher ApoB. The real cost is cumulative. A flavored yogurt with 20 grams of added sugar eaten 5 days a week puts you at an extra 100 grams of sugar before you count anything else. Most men don't register yogurt as a dessert. It slides under the radar because it carries a health halo. The fix is simple. Buy plain, full-fat Greek yogurt and add fresh berries. If you want sweetness, add a teaspoon of honey yourself. You control the dose, and you eliminate the industrial flavoring agents that come with the pre-sweetened tubs. Item 3. Coconut oil. Now we get to the one that breaks people's brains. Coconut oil is marketed as natural, tropical, and plant-based. Wellness influencers have built entire brands around it. The chemistry tells a different story, because coconut oil is about 92% saturated fat. That's higher than butter at around 64%, and beef tallow at roughly 50%. Saturated fat increases hepatic ApoB synthesis and VLDL secretion. Your liver produces more LDL particles, and every one of them carries an ApoB molecule. The particle count rises even if the total cholesterol mass looks unchanged. Here's what the research actually shows. A 2020 systematic review and meta-analysis of interventional studies found that coconut oil consumption significantly raises total cholesterol and LDL, compared with other vegetable oils. A 2022 meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials confirmed the same finding and noted no offsetting cardiovascular benefit. In 2025, NDPI published an analysis of 26 studies on coconut oil and lipid parameters. The conclusion was consistent across the board. Coconut oil raises LDL and total cholesterol, and the HDL boost doesn't neutralize the atherogenic risk. So the wellness narrative runs directly into the data. Circulation published a similar review in 2020 finding the same LDL elevation when coconut oil replaced other fats, with no compelling evidence of cardiovascular benefit. The pushback I hear most often is that coconut oil also raises HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. That rise doesn't cancel out the LDL and ApoB elevation in outcome data. The net effect on particle count is upward. The swap depends on use. Extra virgin olive oil works for dressings and low to medium heat cooking, while avocado oil handles high heat applications. Both are mostly monounsaturated fat, and randomized trials consistently show they lower LDL particle number compared with saturated fat. And the plant-based aisle has its own bait and switch. Item 4. Oat milk. The plant-based milk aisle looks like a health food sanctuary. Oat milk in particular carries a strong reputation because oats contain beta-glucan, a soluble fiber with well-documented cholesterol-lowering effects. A 2016 systematic review and meta-analysis in the British Journal of Nutrition found that 3 to 4 grams of oat beta-glucan per day reduces LDL by about 6.5% and lowers ApoB. That's real and valid, but the problem is formulation, since most commercial oat milk products add seed oils, like canola, sunflower, or rapeseed for creaminess. They also add sugars or maltose from enzymatic processing to improve flavor and texture. The added oils contribute extra fat calories, and the sugars add postprandial glucose load. Both work against the beta-glucan benefit by promoting hepatic fat accumulation and VLDL production. The label trap is language like barista blend or extra creamy. Those words almost always mean more added oil. If you're drinking oat milk for the fiber benefit, you need to verify that you're actually getting beta-glucan without the offsetting load. A 2024 study on almond and oat milk interventions for cardiovascular risk noted that lipid status monitoring is imperative because not all plant milks deliver equivalent benefit. Unsweetened almond milk with no added oils is a safer default. If you want oat milk specifically, look for unsweetened versions that don't include added oils and have enough beta-glucan to matter. Otherwise, you're paying a premium for sugar and oil with a small side of fiber. But the real marketing trap is still waiting in the low-carb aisle. Item 5. Keto snacks. The low-carb aisle has exploded with packaged snacks promising ketosis in a wrapper. The logic seems sound, because if carbohydrates are the enemy, anything low-carb must be heart-healthy. That logic fails when the products are ultra-processed, high in saturated fat, and dense with sodium. A 2024 review from Harvard Health states that the ketogenic diet doesn't meet standards for a healthy diet and may not be safe for some people with heart conditions. A 2023 study found that keto-like low-carb diets may nearly double the risk of cardiovascular events, including heart attack, stroke, and blocked arteries. The mechanism isn't mysterious, because these snacks displace whole foods that actually lower ApoB, like vegetables, legumes, and intact grains. In their place, you get refined fat, salt, and calories. Many keto snacks also contain industrial seed oils. The internet is full of inflammatory rhetoric about omega-6 fatty acids. But major institutions, including the American Heart Association, Johns Hopkins, and the British Heart Foundation have concluded that omega-6 vegetable oils aren't inflammatory and are linked to lower cardiovascular risk when they replace saturated fat. The real problem with these snacks is ultra-processing, displacement of whole foods, and the high saturated fat load that drives ApoB production. The swap is to return to whole food fat sources like raw nuts, cheese, olives, or avocado. These foods deliver fat without the processing load or the displacement effect. They don't require a factory to produce, and your liver knows what to do with them. Now, let's consolidate this into a list you can actually use. Here's the consolidated list for your next shopping trip. Instead of a protein bar, grab plain Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, or almonds. Instead of flavored yogurt, buy plain full-fat Greek and add your own berries. Replace coconut oil with extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. For plant milk, choose unsweetened almond or a verified no-oil oat milk. And for snacks, skip the keto packages and eat nuts, cheese, olives, or avocado. The label rules are simple. Keep added sugars under 5 grams per serving. Check saturated fat content and prefer monounsaturated sources. Verify there are no hidden oils in plant-based products and favor ingredient lists you can read without a chemistry degree. The bigger principle is whole foods over packaged health claims. Premium packaging and wellness branding don't lower your particle count, but ingredients do. Your blood panel is only as good as what you eat between panels. If this changed how you're thinking about your next grocery trip, subscribe. This is what we cover every week.